guy's a horrible detective. He's not trying to find the truth. They say that between 250,000 and 500,000 people in America die every year from medical malpractice, from the wrong diagnosis, from too many medications, from a mixture of the wrong medications, from the wrong surgery. Do you like that stat that's saying, hey, look, these medical professionals are still practicing, but there's some pretty dire consequences if they misdiagnose it, isn't there? We don't get to practice. It's amazing to me how much practicing people make. Doctors practice, lawyers practice. God, I wish I could practice. The book of James says when you go to preach, you got double judgment hanging over you, pastor. All right. Must be nice to just practice. You see, what's the real problem? In 1 John chapter 1, verse 8, it says, if anybody says they have no sin, they're deceiving themselves. That's the real problem, is we have sin in our heart. The book of Jeremiah says, the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who could know it? That the heart of our problem is the human heart. That all have sinned and fallen short. That we were brought forth in our iniquity. It's like the little kid that has a fish bowl. And he gets a little guppy fish. And the next day that guppy fish is floating at the top. Just taking a long nap. His dad's got to scoop it out and says, hey, don't worry. I'll get you a goldfish. And the next day he gets a goldfish. And 2 days later that goldfish is just laying at the top. He said, I'll get you one of those, the fish that eat everything at the bottom. I'll get you one of those. That'll last a little longer. And 3 days later, it's laying at the top. Finally, the dad says to the boy, what are you doing to these fish? Are you feeding them? He goes, yeah, I feed them every day. Are you cleaning their tank? Yeah, well, I just clean it every other day. But yeah, I've been cleaning the tank. He said, well, what is it that you're doing? He says, well, every day I drink a Mountain Dew. I get a sip, they get a sip. I get a sip, they get a sip. I get a sip, they get a sip. You can buy that kid every fish in the ocean, and it's going to die of Mountain Dew overdose. Until you pause and you say, what's the real problem here? What's the truth of what's going wrong? You see, the truth is verifiable. In all of our births, we were born of humans. There's never been an observable evolution in any of our lifetimes. In the billions of people that walk the planet, all of them were born by a father and a mother. A female and a male made a baby. I know I went through public school for a time and they were teaching about evolution and how different animals evolve into different animals. And when my wife became pregnant, I had my fingers crossed. I hope it's a human being. I hope we don't get an elephant. I hope it's not a chupacabra. I hope it's not a Sasquatch. I hope it doesn't evolve into some higher being. I just want a human being. Lord, please, will you allow me a child? And then Jehu was born. I'm like, yes, 1 for 1. And then Jehu comes out 2 for 2. You know what? The evolutionary process has not really been involved in my family. We have 2 human beings that made more human beings. It's not verifiable. In all the experiments, in all the world, in all the mice that produce mice, and all the laboratories, it all came the same exact way. Why would we sell the truth for lies? He says, buy the truth. Don't believe in evolution. Don't believe in non-binary people. Don't believe in a whole bunch of genders. Don't believe that a man can become a woman or a woman can become a... None of that is verifiable. None of that is true. You see, what we believe is the truth. Whatever is